Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living. I am your host, Sara. My guest today, who's been with us before because she's so awesome, is Tilde Guajardo. I'm pronouncing that wrong. She's going to pronounce it for us better. I'm terrible with pronunciation. That's why everybody's called Love. That's the British way. But what we are going to be talking about today is the beautiful, awesome stuff that she is doing. And she is doing and has been doing some wonderful things. She is the founder and CEO of Womanars, so webinars for women, and she is a real motivator and inspires and educates and connects with women all through easy follow system, courses, seminars, events, programs, which focuses on their personal growth and development and enable women to live with more clarity, confidence, and courage, and independence and liberty and all that wonderful stuff that goes along with it. But we're going to be talking about this new IQ identity quintet. I know I've spoken last night. Sorry, I'm having a pronunciation day today, definitely. But it's a new program that she's got going. Plus, she's got something wonderful going on in Barcelona. Since I last had her on the air, she's spread her wings. I think they doubled up. They've taken along a lot more airspace, and she's really doing a great deal more now. So let's dive right into it. I invite you to go back and listen to the show she did with me before, because it was all about her journey to where she is now. And I really encourage you to listen to that, because it's an extraordinary journey of diversity, that redirect, not knowing where you're going, what am I going to do next, big crossroads in life, and the courage, the strength, the tenacity to move forward and create what she's created today. But this is the next chapter, and where she is now, where she's about to go. And as I said, whew, those wings have really spread. Welcome back to the show, love.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm so happy to be here with you.
And please give the correct pronunciation, because I'm definitely having a tongue-tied day.
It's called the new IQ, which IQ standing for Identity Quotient.
Okay, Quotient. There we go. The new IQ. Okay, that's really interesting. We're not talking about the regular IQ, right? We're talking about more of a conscious IQ.
That's correct. Yeah, I last year was a huge growth spurt for me, spiritually, and I really felt in my spirit more to listen to what God was saying, and I heard very clearly in my spirit, identity crisis actually were the first words I heard in early 2017. And as I started to look around, I really started to notice that we were in fact in an identity crisis, and not only as individuals but as countries and humanity as a whole. There was a lot of just instability and angst. We had just had the elections here in the U.S. where people were really just allowing so much of the outcome of the elections affect their well-being, and it just really started to I just really started to realize how much of an identity crisis we were in fact in, and that stemmed even into religions. And how within even religion, we are having an identity crisis. When you look at Christianity alone, we have over 30,000 different denominations right now. And, and that's from one religion. And then, the Muslims, the Hindus, they're all infighting as well, fighting brother against brother, sister against sister. And, it was just one thing after another that God kept revealing to my spirit, and I kept seeing it. And I finally asked, okay, I see it, I get it, but what do you want me to do about it? And that's when I heard identity quotient. And I immediately did what any good coach does, went to the dictionary to figure out what exactly is quotient.
Yes, I was asking the same question. I have not seen that word before.
I had sort of an idea of what it meant, and but I wanted to make sure that I understood it correctly. And when I looked it up, it said, the sum when you divide something into the other.
Mm.
And I immediately then saw a vision of, me over me, others over me,
Mm-hmm.
and God over me. And then I also saw how when we look to ourselves and we look to others, the options are finite. There's an end. But when we look to our spirit or to God,
Yeah.
our possibilities then become infinite, and what that means. And so the new IQ is actually something that helps us go through the process of connecting back to our spirit and to God, to where we really find our identity and our true source of power as well, and where all our dreams and our desires, come from, and also the power to make those dreams and desires come to life. And I after that is when the 4-step process came to me. And it's something that I've experienced in my own life. And also I've had the privilege of interviewing hundreds of other women who have, come into their own greatness and power, and, saw the same process that they used also in their own lives. So the 4-step process is self-awareness, self-transformation, self-love, and self-actualization. And it's a constant cycle that we continually go through. And sometimes, we experience circumstances or traumas or situations in our life that kind of stump us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all in a matter of knowing how to go back to this 4-step process and to continue to go back to who we've always been, and connecting and aligning with our true spirit and God, to find our center again and find our peace, the joy, love that we all yearn for, really. And to stop focusing on making a living,
Yes.
and really focus on making that big, beautiful life that we're all here to make.
You hit on one word, which self.
Yes.
We've either been selfish or selfless. And
Yes.
the selfish is, of course, led to a great deal of narcissism and insecurity, because when people are so utterly immersed in themselves, and some people are immersed
Yeah.
in their ego, some people in their insecurity. You'll see women with the plastic surgery, and they've got to look like Barbie, otherwise no one's going to love them unless they're this size or that hair color or that eye color or whatever, that kind of slave to the image. And then you've also got the people of the self-importance, which you elected one, where it's all about them at the cost of anyone else, that just don't have any caring or empathy. And we come back to everything where we feel powerless, but that power is within ourselves, self.
Yeah.
And when we step into the power of ourselves with love and divine connection, and as I have a beautiful reverend that comes on, who's going to be on for a 5th show next week. He's called Reverend Charles Edwardas. He is a reverend, runs a church, but his godly teachings, I'd be in his church for sure. And he calls it GUS, God, Universe, Spirit. So what anybody wants to call it, it's all that beautiful divine energy. It is about our divine connection. We come from the universe. We need to realize that we need the universal energy to guide us, that God love to guide us in partnership, so that we can embrace ourselves to be all that we're meant to be here on earth. And that's the reason we're here. So I think what we've seen right now politically and around the world is disconnect. Let's divide, let's disconnect, let's shatter people into pieces. And while they're busy trying to put themselves back together, we're going to go and do what we want to do, and we don't care. So the quicker we come back together in ourselves and our own beautiful divine purpose and step up in celebration of that, the more we realize in our connection with the divine, we are the answer that we're seeking. We are the empowerment that we each other need, and we are the empowerment that this world needs. So being selfish to a point of self-importance, or the importance of self, nurturing, loving, caring for self rather than self-importance, is really, really important. So self, right?
Yeah. And the self-awareness, self-transformation, self-love, and self-actualization also represents a choice. We all
Yes,
have choices.
yes,
And it's
yes.
up to us as individuals to decide who we want to be in this world, and how we want to show up each and every day, and that our choices actually reflect all of those things. And so part of the new IQ that I do in the very beginning with people is have them take responsibility for exactly where they are right now, because it is a direct reflection of all the choices that they've made.
Yes.
And then also
Knowingly
take
and
full
unknowingly, right? Because there are the unknowing
absolutely,
choices. Yeah.
absolutely. And also to take responsibility for every choice that they're going to make after the
Yes.
program, they complete the
Yes.
program, because that's essential, is to know that you have the power within yourself to change the direction or course of your life at any moment in time.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
all up to you. And yes, there's going to be life circumstances. There's going to be things that come that we experience that are uncomfortable or traumatic at times, but it's still up to us to decide how those things are going to impact our life and whether or not we're going to allow our past to dictate our future. And I made up my mind a long time ago not to do that. So, and I'm hoping that this program will really help, more than anything, help people become more aware of why they do the things they do, why they think the way that they think, why they let things affect them so much, when people say things, and really help them be more aware of how to stand in their own power.
Yes.
And then how, when we do stand in our own power and when we do love ourselves, because we accept a love and unconditional love from God, and we also love God back, but then we're able to extend that same love to other people. And the identity crisis that I saw, you cannot love somebody when you don't know who you are. So the golden rule
Or
really
no
gets
love of self.
yeah,
How
the
can
golden
you?
rule gets thrown out the window,
Yes.
because you how can you possibly treat others with love and respect when you're not treating yourself with love and respect?
Absolutely.
So
That is the
we
that's the fundamentals, isn't it? It's everything that you want people to do. The first and foremost first step they need to do is step into that love of self. And as you said, that there's so many things that they've done that, in their life's choices they've made, sometimes unknowingly, because it's a pattern. The society's
Mhm.
expectation of you, a family expectation, maybe even the church that you belong to's dictation. It is your relationship with your God is your relationship. That's your divine source, your energy. It's personal, and it's yours. God doesn't choose, loves everybody, let him in, and in that love you'll discover who you really are. But that first and
Absolutely.
foremost step is self-love. I did an interview the other day with someone who interviewed Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Oprah, all of the greats. And he said one of the common things when he asked the question, what is that common denominator that we all need to know? And the answer was, from every single one of them, self-love. Because when we
Yes.
step into self-love, we do everything from that place of love.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we
Right.
do then is based in love. But without the self-love, how can we identify or attract love? How can we give
Well,
love if we don't know what
right.
it is?
Exactly. And I think for me it's the third step in the process, because you can't really have self-love until you go through the other steps, which are the self-awareness,
Yeah.
to know why you're thinking the way that you're thinking about yourself, why you're doing all those things, becoming curious about why it is that you have the beliefs that you do about God, and why even hearing the name God sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people find offensive. Why do I have to say the universe to make you comfortable? Why do I have to say source to make myself comfortable? So all of these things, all of these questions that in the self-awareness, where we start to realize how our past experiences have actually given us this lens or filter
Mm-hmm.
that we continue to look through. And it's time to actually remove the filter and start to look at things without it, so that we can actually see things as they are in reality, and to really investigate the reasons why we're thinking the way that we're thinking, and then go out and become curious about creating different experiences that will allow us to have a different perception, perhaps, and it could be that we have the same perception or we have the same belief after an experience that we have, but we're allowing ourselves and we're giving ourselves permission to have a different experience and to become curious and not judge,
Big
anyone,
one.
not say this is good or this is bad. Just say, this is not for me.
Exactly.
This is not
Again,
going to work for me.
right.
you know The second critical piece is the self-transformation, and I call that the work. That's where you develop the new habits,
Yeah.
new ways of thinking. This is where you develop those daily habits that are critical to go from self-awareness to the self-transformation and actually start to make those changes. And then the third is the self-love, which you talk about. And I put that specifically in the third because you have to peel away those layers and those limiting beliefs and fears before you can actually get to that place where you're open to receiving, because a lot of times for me, in my case, I had experienced so much trauma in my childhood and also going through a pretty traumatic divorce that I had to really, really work on becoming open again, because it was easy for me to love other people, but it was really difficult for me to extend that same grace and love to myself. And so the biggest piece in self-love a lot of times is that forgiveness, and not just forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves for anything that, is hindering us from being able to receive love in its totality and its abundance, and the infinite amount of love that is there for us to receive.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it is the love of self that we want to get to. But yes, we have to do the work to do it. And I think that the big word permission, I think for women especially, permission to place that importance upon yourself, permission to take this journey, to find that love of self. Because a lot of women, it's always about what they're doing for someone else. And they don't turn it, as you say, back on themselves. And it's that, how can you keep helping other people if you're unable to help yourself? You have to help yourself, because when you're depleted, who are you helping? When you're empty, there's nothing there for you to give. By helping yourself and stepping into that and stepping into your love, stepping into your own beautiful abundance, your own God presence, you are now abundant and you're able to really give out even more. And always be rejuvenated as well, because love begets love. But it's as you said, we're in a world right now of topsy-turviness, and a lot of people are very confused. But don't you think it's an absolutely wonderful invitation to go, if you're looking for the clarity, this is the time to step into those programs that can help you find it, because it's only through disruption that we actually realize there's something we've got to change.
Right. Absolutely. And, I often tell people that I work with, and even when I'm speaking, is that I'm on version 4.0, Tilde 4.0. So, because a lot of times we think that we have to update ourselves. If I'll use the iPhone, for instance, and we start to layer things that we're learning one on top of the other. And for me, when my biggest growth spurts and transformation has been when I have just started all over again. And that's why I say I'm on version 4.0, because I've really taken a good look at my life and said, okay, I'm going to start all over and let's see what we can create now. And that's, how I ended up in Barcelona the last few months. And it has been one of the biggest adventures of my life to be able to do that. The first time I did it was when I had a spiritual awakening, and really started working on retraining my brain and going from anger, fear, and shame to faith, hope, and love. Second iteration was after my divorce and 14 years of marriage, and thinking that my life was going one way, and thinking that it had ended basically, and actually then realizing that it was a new beginning for me, and I had a chance to create a life that I loved. And instead of setting aside things that I had set aside, to actually start doing them. Well, asking myself, what am I passionate about? What is it that I want to do with the second half of my life that has meaning? That was Tilde version 2.0, and this last one was, or one of the last ones was 3.0, when I actually left my cushy 6-figure income in a 20-year career and jumped out to do Womanars full time. And that was scary as heck, and that was going to be starting all over again, and leaving the security and comfort of that income And it was one of the most liberating moments of my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was scary, yes, but it was also the most liberating moment in my entire life. And now 4.0 is going over, you know, and living and working in another country and going back and forth for a while. But, you know, it's just a different step. And so I encourage everybody that's watching, is don't be afraid to start over. You know, that's when you see the most growth, and your confidence, your courage, your clarity about what you want becomes so crystal clear about the direction of your life, that you're able to see. I'm able to look back on my life now and see how all those versions of myself and all the experiences I've had have led me to exactly where I am, to where I'm able to use my gifts, my talents, you know, to the nth degree now.
Right. And, you know, I like your analogy to the phone because, you know, we look at our vehicles, we look at our computers, we look at our phones, we look at our TVs, and they become obsolete at some point. The programming doesn't work, they break down, and we don't think twice about, oh, I've got to update. I have to get a newer model. Now, we can't go and trade ourselves in. There was that movie Surrogate where you actually had a computer model and you just sat in your chair and lived vicariously through that. We don't encourage that, folks.
Right.
You can step into a new model of yourself, right? And you can go, why can't I update myself? What is in our brain is just a minuscule of actually what's in our computer, because our brains, you know, invented this computer, the wiring, the circuits, the programming, the everything. We're not too unalike. So why do we not delete programs that are outdated? Why do we not insert new programs that are more, you know, progressive and kinder to ourselves? We do this to everything else. But where do we think that we abstain from that? We're not linear. We're not one note. You know, we're a beautiful instrument just waiting to be played. And but in order to learn that instrument, you've got to put in the time. Otherwise, you can't join the orchestra. As Wayne Dyer says, you know, I am. Now that he's crossed over, the message is we are. I believe we need to become I ams so that we can join the orchestra of we are. But we have to be willing to do the work first, don't we?
Absolutely. You know, and I think I enjoy the work now when, you know, for people that might just starting to do the work, you know, or coming out of a difficult divorce or whatever the circumstances are, starting a new career. It's always difficult in the beginning if you're not used to doing it. But the rewards are so rewarding that you find yourself continually wanting to grow. At least that's it for me. You know, after the first couple of times that I reinvented myself, it was like, okay, I can do this. You know, yes, it's scary. I know what it's going to feel like every time I do it now.
So but you, as you said, you look back and you go, my God, I thought I was trapped there. I thought there was nothing else, but I made the choice to seek out what else was possible for me. And every time you're at a crossroads about to embark on another venture and you go, oh my God, can I take this on? Can I do it? You go through all of that, right? And then you just look back, well, God, look what you've done already.
Exactly.
You can do this, girl.
Yeah.
You've done it already. So it's just another chapter.
You know, one of the greatest things we can do for ourselves as individuals is become our own cheerleaders. And learn how to motivate ourselves, learn how to inspire ourselves. All I have to do is look at the past, you know, everything that I've been able to accomplish, everything I've been able to overcome and to thrive in this lifetime. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's nothing that I don't think I can do as long as, you know, I put my focus on it. So, you know, and I think that's critical for people to realize is you do have to really become your best motivator and inspirer, you know, and also, of course, the relationships that you have around you are critical to be able to bring out the best in you and to see the best in you when maybe you don't see the best in yourself or need, you know, that outside force or energy to help lift you up. but to me, it has been one of the most critical things that I've learned to do, and that is to inspire myself and motivate myself, and in those days where I don't want to come out from under the covers,
Right.
and
But
to know exactly where I need to go
we all
back
get
to.
them, and those are just
Yeah.
kind of the universe telling us this is a nurturing day. This is a
Yes.
day where you pull the plug on everything else. It's a day of self-love, just doing what you need to do to rejuvenate, because you're spending too much energy. We need to give it back to you. This is a nurturing day. Don't go, oh, this
Yeah.
is the end of it all. No, it isn't. It's just purely a pause. That's it. But the other important thing is that you're not going to enjoy anything. You're not going to embrace a positive redirect. You're not going to see your possibilities if you don't step into your heart center. Because
Right.
when you do things from a place of love, then you see all the possibilities. You create those opportunities. The creation of what can be from a heart space is infinite, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think when you are connected and you're aligned to God and to your spirit, and you learn how to listen from that space, and you learn how to live from that space. And obviously we can't live from that space 24/7, because we live in these human bodies, physical
Yes.
bodies, and we are in this world. But when you learn how to stay connected and aligned, and do it in a quick way, and kind of do them both at the same time,
Yes.
it's really that you learn to listen to your intuition so quickly and keenly that you start to make those decisions that are best for you very, very quickly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's for me, that's the most exciting thing in teaching people how to come into their own, is listening to that still small voice, knowing what
Yes.
that sounds like, knowing when that is your spirit, that is coming from a place that you really need to listen to,
Yeah.
and being able to decipher when it's your spirit and when it's not, when it is your subconscious or other voices
The
that you've heard
ego.
from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know when it's that divine voice, that God's voice, whatever everybody wants to relate it to be, because it does come right here in the belly from the heart and the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And it just connects. And I don't know why I feel this way, but I just do. I've just got to follow it. I've just gotta, when you just
Yeah.
gotta, that's the heart and soul that's really guiding you. When the head and the ego gets in and goes, yes, but I don't know, but this, but that,
Yeah.
it's the head, right? And it's like so many times to say to people, please switch off the head, turn it off, listen to the soul, heart, and spirit, let it have its voice. By the time you turn the head back on, it will extract the knowledge it needs to know from the brain,
Yeah.
from the data, and you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. But we get so
Absolutely.
caught up in the head, don't we? And that head is that doctrine again of society's expectation of you should, you will, you can't, you're
Right.
unable. And that's, who wants to hear that chatter? I don't.
Right.
Been there,
Right.
done
And
that.
I think, oh, absolutely. And I like to tell, the Womanars story and how that was birthed, because it was a huge vision I had. I was still working at a major airline, when I initially got the vision in 2006, I believe, or 2007. And I had no experience in video production, in online, or e-commerce businesses, or how the heck to interview people. All I kept seeing and hearing was video. I kept seeing me teaching via video, being able to talk to an audience, the audience being able to talk to me. Mind you, this was 2006.
Yes.
YouTube was just taking off.
Right.
I don't think it was even popular yet.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I would talk to people about what the vision I had, and building this platform where we could all connect and talk, and, this global network of women, being able to support each other and learn. And people would look at me with these glazed look on their face, and say, well, this is going to cost you millions of dollars, Tilde. You can't do it. You're still working. And it's going to require a lot of money. And so that kind of,
held you back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it held me back for a while until my spirit was just like, if I don't do this, I am going to burst.
Yes.
If I don't do
Yes.
this, I'm going to regret this, or at least try to do this. I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life. And so as soon as I put my foot forward and I thought, okay, first thing we'll do is start with video production, because I have no idea, all I knew is that the spirit was telling me, tell their stories, tell your story. And so I put it out, started to tell people what I wanted to do and how I wanted to interview women to tell their personal stories of transformation. And all of a sudden, doors started to open.
Yeah.
I found somebody volunteered to be a videographer for me, and actually produce the videos for me. I found somebody who's willing to do a free website for me. The
Mm-hmm.
logo was being done all of a sudden at a deeply discounted price. I mean, it was just me initiating that step.
Yes. Yes.
And then, everything kind of falling into place. And lo and behold, I went from having no network of women to now having a global network of women leaders all over.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back on that alone, that is my cheerleader moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yes.
being able to look at where I started and where I've come and how much I've learned and how much of that knowledge now and wisdom I'm able to share with other women business owners, who are still in that state of, I have this huge vision, but I don't even know where to start. I don't have the money. I don't have
Yeah.
this. And it's like, just take that one step, that leap of faith that God and your spirit is calling you to take and to believe in yourself, and watch the doors just fly open for you. Yes, it's going to be difficult at times, but my God, it's going to be the ride of a lifetime for you.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of surrendering. Like you have to surrender
Totally.
to allowing, surrender to receiving, surrender to the vision. Obviously, 6 years ago when I started doing, a podcast, I did them live for 13 months and I had no idea I was going to have my own station. I'm now this week celebrating my 5th year. We have close to 2,000 shows on here. I've done over 1,000 myself. And
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to take me here. And I have a blueprint for my next phase that I'm
Yeah.
going to be doing. And I realize, one thing I've realized is that I may have the vision. I have to clarify it in a blueprint so other people can see the vision. And then you invite. You ask God to bring you the people that are going to help you move forward, but it's not like a quick Amazon delivery. It's not going to be here in 40
Yeah.
minutes. It's you just keep nurturing that blueprint. You keep nurturing that desire. You keep allowing those visions to articulate it and to send it out there, and then you will start seeing the people that are connected vibrationally to that really can allow you to move on, come into place. Isn't it? And it will happen when it's
Absolutely.
meant to happen, but we can't, well, I want it now and it's got to be this. And I used to be like that. I see it. Let's do it now. No,
Yeah.
that's just the creative process. That's just the blueprinting. That's just getting it down so you
Yeah.
can see how far it can grow. But if we dictate every step, we're going to miss out
Oh,
on
you miss out
the
on
movement.
the
Yes.
miracles too,
Yes.
the
Yes.
daily miracles that will unfold for you if you just allow uh, the spirit to guide you and be patient to allow it to unfold the way that it's able to unfold. I mean, I had a lot of lessons to learn, and probably why, it took me so long to birth Womanars,
Mm,
because it was, first of all, me getting out of my own way,
right. Yes.
and
Know that one.
and to stop listening to those negative Nelly voices in my head and just take that leap of faith. Because in reality, I mean, I had the vision in 2006. We're now in 2018.
Yeah.
The mission has always stayed the same. I mean, the mission and vision has always stayed the same: inspire, educate, and connect women all over the world using
Yeah.
these webinars and events. But the way that it's looking now
Mm-hmm.
is different, and the
Yes.
way that we're executing is different. So I just want to encourage people that might be a little discouraged,
Yeah.
because of the length of time that
Yes.
it's taking their dream to come to life. Just allow it to come to life the way it's supposed to. A lot of times we delay our own dreams by thinking that they're supposed to look a certain way, and our spirits and God is saying, just let me do it. It's so much
Yes.
better than you could even think or imagine if you just let me take the reins,
Yes.
you know?
And, you know, I mean, people like me who are, you know, constantly supporters and givers, you know, always doing things for free. For the last 6 years, that's what I've done.
Mhm.
I've gone into a business model now. My shows are now paid for. Do a co-show with someone else that we bring on people. And, you know, the bucks now are being generated. And I think, you know, it was a hard transition for me because I'm not money driven, although I have a livelihood to support, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm here to celebrate and support and just love what people are doing and have other people know what options are out there for them. That, you know, if whatever you're going through in life, I promise you here in Self Discovery Radio, I've got somebody that can help you. You've just got to take the time to listen to them and you'll know which one to connect with. But
Right.
it took me a whole different mindset to step into this. And what I realized is, I've given 6 years philanthropy and support, you know, and now the tables have turned and I have to look in a different way. And we have to realize it in our growth of our business, we're going to go in it with one reason, right?
Yeah.
And the most important thing in anything that you're going to do, you have to realize whatever it is you've got, you are your business. And
Right.
nobody is going to buy from you or a service from you or do anything with you if they don't buy you. And if they don't feel your sincerity, your love, your passion, your conviction for what you do, then
Yep.
why would they? There's somebody else that's got it, that loves it
Mhm.
more. And so stepping into passion, I think, is one of the most important things. And your passion will evolve
Yes.
into the business, you know, profile and profit and everything else. But that authenticity of who you are and why you do it, this is why we do these shows now on business, of people celebrating their why, because we
Mhm.
want to know why. Why
Yeah.
you? Why should I come to you? And if I buy your passion, conviction for what you do, and you love what you do, and this is what you do, and it can help me, then why would I not come to you?
Right. Right. And, you know, I mean, when I work with startups, because I mainly work with women startups,
Mm-hmm.
in the why and being more authentic,
Yes.
you know, in their delivery and building their networks and how that works. But really the why, my why, it is what has sustained me
Mm-hmm.
during the difficult times, you
Yes.
know, and why I did it without getting paid.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I
Yes.
mean, because I want to see women
Mm-hmm.
own their power. I want
Hallelujah.
to see,
Yes.
yeah, you know, I want to see you succeed. I want to see
Yes.
you at your best. I want you to find the best version of yourself and go out there and kick some ass. You know,
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
that's
Yes.
my that's my
Yeah.
why. And so yeah, I would do it if I could do it for free. Absolutely,
Yeah.
because I love it. I
Yes.
love seeing people flourish.
Right.
And and so it's critical for women business owners in particular to really hone in on that why,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to give them the resiliency
Mm-hmm.
to keep doing what they love to do in spite of any circumstances or
Yeah.
challenges or obstacles that they might face along the way. If they really feel that this is a calling for them and this is
Yes.
what they're supposed to be doing, that why is critical to being able to succeed.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. And it's, um, I could no longer walk away from this and do something else. You know, I have found
Yeah.
my why. I've found my calling. I found my instrument, and it's just to bring other instruments to the orchestra. Hey, I've got an orchestra. Come on over. You know, bring your instrument. And if you're just beginning to learn your cello, that's okay. I've got someone that can help you with it. And that's, you know, I love what I'm doing because I love interviewing people like you who are out there helping people make a difference in their lives, turning the channel. I'm so sick to death of the old paradigm of way women have
Yeah.
been treated, and the way we treated ourselves because of that doctrine,
Right.
and the way we treat each other women because of that patterning. We know that has to stop. We know we're better than that. We know that we're incredibly and powerful creatures. We are awesome, and there's nothing that we can't do, and we mustn't put limitations on ourselves. You know,
Absolutely.
we can be anything that we want to be, but we've got to understand, why do we want to be it? Is it for
Hmm.
fame and glory and ego? If it is, drop that. If it's because you want to make a difference in the world, you want to be a contributor, you want what you do to be your gift to the world, your contribution, then step into it and be empowered, because that empowerment begets empowerment. And that's what we need in the world right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to also say that, you know, we've become so success focused and minded that we forget the why we're doing what
Yes.
we're doing. And we forget that, you know, for me, it's the experience that I want to provide for people that matters the most. To not necessarily the dollar amounts,
Yeah.
although yes, I do want to make money and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely nothing wrong
But
with it.
when you focus on money and when you make that the reason
Yes.
for success or stuff that you have, you know, success doesn't bring you happiness.
No.
I've met women who are successful and men who are super successful and miserable. It's
Absolutely.
much easier to start off happy and be successful than to become successful and try to be happy.
Yes.
Because you're so unwilling to let go of stuff that you think keeps you semi-happy, but you're not willing to give them up for true happiness, you know,
Right.
and love and adventure, freedom, joy, all those things that we crave for. But when you become successful and you become attached to those things, it's much more difficult to become happy than to start off being happy
Yes.
and being
Yes.
successful.
Do it this way. It's much easier. And I too have interviewed numerous people who've walked away from the six figures or even their own companies, great success. And, you know, the reason they walked away from them is like, I have all this richness around me, but all I feel is burden. All I feel is in debt because I have the money, but I am so soul, heart, and spirit poor. And they've literally walked away from everything, stepped into totally different lives. Some because the cosmic 2x4 came along and took it away from them because, you know, you haven't got the message, so I'm going to do it for you. And, you know, some of the people just literally walking away like yourself saying, no, this isn't my why. This isn't my calling. This is not where my heart is. And so what, you can go and buy another Mercedes-Benz. So what, you can take trips around the world. But if you haven't got happiness within you, nothing that you buy is going to make you happy. When you find your meaningful purpose, your why, that is the true happiness. And maybe a bit more of a struggle, but my God, it is so much more rewarding.
Absolutely. And it's much more fun.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't want to have fun
Yes.
in their life, you know? And I think as adults, we get so stuck in being serious and in paying the bills and in, you know, everything that we focus on becomes reality for us, right? And so when I learned the trick to not focus on what I didn't have, but focus on what I did have and come from a true space of gratitude,
Yes.
my world started to change. I started to see things differently. I started to see, you know, the manifestation of those tiny miracles every day in my life and value things that are supposed to be valued, like friendships, relationships, you know, much more than I had in the past. And so, you know, I think gratitude is our highest form of praise to God. To where we can actually be grateful for not only stuff, but for breathing, for being able to see and feel and taste all the things that we're, you know, that are around us on a daily basis. And for me, that switch in my own mind made such a huge difference as I started to see my life unfold completely different.
Yeah. When you step into that meaningful purpose, your why, you're stepping into, you know, the God's vision for you. You're now in partnership, right? You've stepped into that beautiful presence of being, and then you actually understand the human side of you. So you become the human being. And we realize what a gift this vessel is of actually being able to walk on the earth, being able to touch, to taste, to feel, to kiss someone. The spirit is all beautiful divine energy, but it can't get that tactile feeling. And when we bring the spirit into the human body and we have that whole human being experience, everything becomes so much more heightened. Everything becomes so much more of a gift. And it's such a beautiful partnership, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that I learned is most of us operate just from a physical standpoint, right? And we operate from the touch, feel, hear, see, what's the other one? Taste. We operate from those five senses, but there's more senses, when
Yes.
especially when you're in that spiritual realm, that you're able to see things from a different perspective completely. So when I am in that state and I'm walking around the lake, or I'm in a setting where there's a lot of people, I am actually able to see things from a totally different perspective. I'm actually able to see into people, to see what they're lacking, what they're missing, or what they're feeling. You know, it's a totally different sensory experience when you're walking in the spirit and walking so connected with God, because I can see when somebody needs an encouraging word. I
Yes.
can I can hear when they're or when they're laughing, but inside they might be hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes us connected
Mm-hmm.
more so with humanity and our own humanity, but also with humanity, and able to have more compassion and empathy and provide what people need, as brothers and sisters, because we all are connected. And
Yes.
you're able to see that from that spirit perspective,
Mm-hmm.
where you're not able to see that when you're just always in the physical.
Right. The humanoid or the human being. Yeah, it's
Right.
and actually this, I think the reason that we see so many beautiful animals that are not meant to be species together, and you see, dogs taking in kittens or birds or whatever, and looking after them. It's like this shouldn't be. They're meant to be enemies. They're not meant to love each other, and there they are. And I think what it is our children, our beautiful gifted indigo children, and our animal kingdom is actually showing us compassion and empathy and how to love, and stop labeling each other black,
Yeah,
white, pink, yellow, woman, male. For God's sake, please, we're all the same inside. This is just our vehicle, right?
absolutely.
Do you look at a Mercedes and go, well, you're not a BMW? It's yeah, and I suppose some people do, yes, but we're not talking to them. We're talking to the people that understand this is just the vessel that we're in. And come
Absolutely.
from the heart and the soul of things, step into your compassion, step into your empathy, step into that love, and what you receive back, there aren't any words for.
Right.
You can't describe that feeling back, can you?
Mhm.
Because it's just
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was just talking to a friend of mine about this, and I really, really think that judgment
oh,
of others is the demise of our humanity
mm-hmm,
right now. To
mm-hmm,
where, somehow, some way, we've all come to think that we have a right to judge somebody else.
yeah,
And in reality, we don't.
yeah,
I have my opinion, I have my beliefs, I have my own values, but I by no means should or feel like everybody else has to believe the way I do, or has to value the things that I value the way that I do. I just don't understand sometimes the judgment and the hate, the visceral hate that comes from that place of judgment. And I speak as somebody who used to be really involved in the religious right and used to judge
mm-hmm,
a lot of people. And when God really showed me
mm-hmm.
myself
Yes,
and
yes,
put that mirror up to
yeah,
myself, and I really got what my spirit was telling me, and I understood how, when I judge others, I'm judging myself,
yes, yes.
and so I stopped. I was
Well,
like,
it's
not gonna go there.
I had
It
a
was
tumultuous marriage myself, and what I did at the end when I became into my own empowerment, every time he started in on me, I would say, take it up with your mirror. It's the only one that's interested.
yes,
All right. And that's what we've got to remember when you're attacking someone else. It's coming from your own insecurity. It's coming from your own
yes,
pain. When you step into the love of someone else, you're inviting their love to come out. If it's not capable of coming out, it's that they haven't ignited it. And
yeah,
maybe you're there to show them, or maybe that's their journey. And all we can do is inspire and invite and nurture and give tools, but everybody's responsible for their own journey. And I did a show on narcissism, which was really
mm,
mind-blowing. It was a 3-part series. And I realize how many narcissistic people we have in the world and how it can be avoided, because it's the frontal lobe of empathy and caring needs to be developed as a child, when they just start caring for other things. Otherwise, it still becomes into that self-obsessed or self-survival, everything
Right.
about self. And of course, when you look at your leader right now, narcissism is written all over him. And unfortunately, they can't take responsibility for it, because they, honest to God, don't think that they're doing anything wrong. So
Right.
unless you can say, okay, I'm a narcissist and I'm going to be so, we can't help you. But for those people who got trapped in a patterning of judgment, because it was society saying that person's wrong and this person's right, or this color's this and that color's that, if we realize that was a doctrine that was given us, we can make the choice to go, that's not my language anymore. I'm not accepting that.
Right, exactly. And I think for me, the judgment is,
It's naivety, it's ignorance, it's
it is, and
insecurity.
it stems from such insecurity
Yes.
and that identity crisis piece, and
Yes.
not knowing who you really are, so that you can just allow people to be who they are,
Yeah. Yeah. And
watching the
celebrate who they are,
world. Yeah,
right?
and and
Celebrate those
and
differences.
celebrate the differences, and also just to
Yeah.
be you, let them be them.
Yes.
And we're going to disagree.
Right.
Here's my take. I have friends on every from every political spectrum, from every pretty much ethnicity. And do we agree all the time? Absolutely not. We get into some pretty heated debates. But the thing is I still love them. They still love me.
Yes.
They still respect me. I respect them in those conversations. We don't get offended, if
Right.
you will, because somebody doesn't get convinced or convicted the way that I'm convicted in my own way of
Mm-hmm.
seeing the world. And I think that's where judgment
Mm-hmm.
can really be divisive, and is
Yeah.
divisive in this culture that we're living in.
Yeah.
Because if you think that your way is the only way, and you're calling everybody else stupid or dumb or
Yeah.
whatever, that's judgment.
Yes.
That says
Yes.
nothing good about you.
Yes.
Or
Absolutely.
wanting to create a solution for the problem that you're addressing.
Mm-hmm.
All you're doing by judging other people is creating even more divisiveness. That helps no one.
Yes.
The collaborative mind, or the loving mind, is the peacemaker, is the
Yes.
one that's able to come to the
Mm-hmm.
table and to see both perspectives, and to say, I see your point and I see your point. Now, where can we meet in the middle?
Yes. Where's the common denominator? Yeah,
Yeah,
the thread that
what
you
is
both
it?
agree on. Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's always a solution. It's just a matter of people being able to compromise.
Yes.
It's like going to buy a house, or sell a house. A really great deal is when the buyer's not really happy and the seller's not really happy either, but you've come to an agreement.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And differences are great, because it's like, who wants just steak and potatoes all the time?
Absolutely.
It's like, bring the smorgasbord of life, the buffet. Bring all those things. It doesn't mean you're going to eat everything on the table,
Right.
but you're going to try this time and try that this time, and you go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know I liked that, and
Right.
now you do. And it's willingness to be adventurous, to explore, to open your mind to. You may, as you said, not always agree with what somebody does. I can't see it from your point of view, but I respect it's your point of view.
Right.
You're not going to be
Right.
bosom buddies with that person if they're
Absolutely.
opposites, but turning hate on them just because they're not thinking like you, how productive is that? If you've stepped into love, you can't turn into hate.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've all had different experiences
Mm-hmm.
throughout our lifetime that have given us the perception and the belief systems and the values that we have. And it's hard to change those beliefs and values when you have had any negative experiences. I'll take, for instance, having African American friends. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any African American friends growing up. And so when I got to college here in Dallas, that was the first time I had ever been in an African American environment. So it was a total culture shock for me, you know, and I had my own perceptions about the African American culture, and they totally changed once I actually had my own experience,
Yes.
you know, with them, and friendships with them and relationships with them. I mean, and that's what I mean, is to have those different experiences, to actually purposely go out and have those different experiences with people that don't look like you, talk like you, or act like you, so that you can actually get a different perspective of why they believe the way that they believe, or why they act the way that they act, and you know, then make up your mind as far as what it is exactly that you believe now.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we're in women's bodies. We happen to be white women. There are other women that are Asian or black, mixed. I have mixed children, Asian and Western. And the thing is that this may be part of the culture that we bring to, you know, our flavor, to our dish, but fundamentally inside, everything that I long for is what you long for. We're all looking for that love. We're all looking to be loved. We're looking for a meaningful purpose. We're all looking for something that makes us want to get up and do, and our why, our conviction every day. Everybody's got that same drive.
Absolutely.
And I think what we have to be careful is we can acknowledge, you know, we are this. But that doesn't define everything about me. If you are black, you are black. If you're a black woman, you're a black woman. Are you persecuted more than most women? Yes, and that's wrong. But what we have to do is not get stuck actually in our casing, and realize that this is just a part of us, but what's inside is where the common denominator is. And if we can see each other from the inside out, we'll realize we have so much more in common than we have that's separate.
Well, it's you know, I'm going to be part of a diversity panel here in the next couple of weeks, and a friend of mine is leading it, and my belief is that if you're focusing on diversity, then that's what you're seeing.
Yes.
My job, you know, and what I believe I'm here to do is to look at us as humanity. When we stop saying, you know, African American, Hispanic, woman, man, you know, whatever, that's when we've done our job.
Yeah.
You know,
humanity,
and for me,
human beings.
Absolutely. I don't see color. I don't see color.
No.
You know,
that's just your flavor. That's just your dish.
I could totally play victim because I'm Hispanic, you know, I'm this or I'm that, but I refuse to do that. I don't do that. And I think focusing on diversity is a mistake.
Right.
No, I really do.
I do too. Focusing on common denominators, empowerment, and love. You know, those are the things where we need to really
on humanity.
Yes.
You know, on raising the human consciousness. And just seeing ourselves as people. And
thank you.
And you know, it's pretty simple.
And in that, you know, just seeing each other as people, but then getting to know each one of our, you know, our ingredients, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because that's what we bring. You bring a little Spanish flavor. I bring a British flavor. Somebody else brings a little something. That's ooh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And then that's how we kind of immerse those dishes together. And then that's, you know, wow, that's good. And it, you know,
that's what makes that great buffet.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to step into that because we're the ones that are missing out by segregation, right? When we come together in that orchestra, everybody in a different instrument, whatever color, religion or whatever, but we come together in heart space, in humanity, in caring, in kindness, in love. Boy, the music we're going to make is going to be mind-blowing. And that's this is the crossroads that we're at right now. Everything that's going on in the world, and especially going on in the States, because it's so under the microscope there right now, everything they're doing is trying to divide people. I look at it, and the song for me last year was Rise Up by Andrea Day. And it's not Rise Up with the pitchforks, it's Rise Up together, arm in arm. No matter who and what you are, and come together for the sake of humanity to say, we're not going to take this division. You cannot divide us. We are going to stand together as one humanity. This is the invitation that's out there right now, isn't it? And what a wonderful time to step into self
Mm-hmm.
and be a part of that.
Absolutely. You know, and call out people on each side that are not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because here in the States, I I abhor the media. I'll tell you that. I
Yes.
abhor the media.
Yeah.
It is very one-sided. It's propaganda, and you're not getting the truth.
No.
I'm not. I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything that I see on the news. I don't watch the news, to be honest
Right.
with you, most of the time, because I'm creating the world that I want to create.
Yes. If I have
And
to watch any news, it's
who's
Trevor Noah from The Daily Show, because he'll bring about something that's happened and he'll make fun of it. And then he has those profound moments of silence or quietness where he then really talks to it.
yeah,
And that's where I get my news, because the CNN, take a pimple, make it a volcanic eruption.
right?
It's all about sensation, fear, driving that. And that's all part of that
Yes.
control, isn't it?
Fear, hate,
Yes. Ah,
anger. I mean,
divide, divide, divide. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
yeah. And so really what I want to say is just focus on the world that you want to create. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you see an injustice, how are
Yes.
you going to make a difference? How
Yes.
can you make a difference? How can you and your friends make a difference? Because that's really where the change is going to start for us in our own communities, and then to expand that,
Mm.
you know, out into the rest of the world.
We are the change we seek.
Yes.
We are the peace we seek. We are the love we seek. We are everything that we seek. And when we step into that, we become what the world needs, what each other needs. And then the world is able to give us what we need, because we have set the vibration and the frequency. You know,
Yeah.
it's not about somebody else coming along and fixing you or sorting your life out. It's you stepping into your own presence and being everything you can be by you turning up your own frequency of love, kindness, and caring and empowerment, and with your beautiful gift and contribution. Boy, you have now become part of the solution of what the world wants, and you're a contributor to what the world needs in order to survive.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where the power lies.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us a little more about the Barcelona adventure that you have going on.
Yeah, so Barcelona was part of the whole identity program
Mm-hmm.
being birthed, and hearing God just say, you know, get ready to go
Mm-hmm.
in my spirit at the end of 2017. And I walked into my house one day and looked around and thought, you know, all of this represents what God had restored from my past after my divorce, because I never thought I could own my own home after, you know, having double incomes, if
Mm-hmm.
you will. And the house represented everything that God restored to me,
Mm-hmm.
and everything in it as well that I had created around me, that was the environment that I wanted to create. And I literally sold my house because I wanted to see what God had for me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
next. And so the first thing I did was put the house on the market, was under full contract 2 days later. And
Wow.
then a week after that, I get a phone call from a friend of mine in Barcelona who had picked up everything and left here
Mm-hmm.
in Texas a couple of years ago. And single mom with her 3 daughters, 10 suitcases,
Wow.
and yeah, and went to Barcelona to start a business there. She got a visa as an entrepreneur, and you know, had been trying different iterations of the business and different business models, and had finally come up with this model when I talked to her. And so the model, it's called the Nook. It's a business called the Nook. And it was so aligned with the way that I was feeling, and you know, hearing God saying, get ready to go. So she called me and said, I'm starting this business, would love for you to come help me launch it. She says, I feel like it's a global brand, something that could take off really quickly, but I need your help. I would love your help in building it. And so I was like, well, it's perfect timing, because,
Mm-hmm. You're
you know,
homeless.
I sold my house. And so we talked for a few months, because it took me a couple of months to get ready to go. And at the end of March, I spent a month there. And I got myself a little garage apartment here in Dallas, and just so it would be easy for me to go and come. And when I got there, you know, I hit the ground running. I went into meetings. I was afraid that maybe the language would be a little bit too much for me, but I ended up understanding 90% of everything that I was hearing. So while I couldn't speak it fluently, I still, could understand it, which was great. Going into meetings and things like that made it a lot easier. But I fell in love with the concept. The Nook is what we're calling a hub of human consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we're combining transformative classes, courses, services that are centered around a person's emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. So we combine luxury type services like massage, acupuncture, laser therapies, anti-aging facials with personal growth and development courses that are unique and more, I guess, neuroscience, positive psychology, spirituality, and things that are just now sort of evolving in Europe, where personal growth and development is pretty advanced here in the States. It's just now taking off in Europe and in Barcelona in particular. So people are just now becoming more open. And I think because of the political climate there, there's a lot of instability. People are overly stressed. Domestic violence is on the rise there as well. And for a number of different reasons, I believe. But I think, the programs, the experiences that we want to bring to the Nook and to Barcelona will be able to add that positivity, that's needed there right now. And not only from a community perspective, but also from a global perspective, in wanting it to be a destination for people to want to come to visit.
Yes, they can make it a double whammy. Go there and do what they need to do, and then take some time out to travel around. And I actually think it's actually a wonderful thing of actually getting Americans out of America and seeing the rest of the world, because there's always an assumption that everything is just America, and they have no idea about what happens in the rest of the world. And I think it's a great education as well.
Absolutely. And so my job is just to help them kind of organize it and streamline it to see what those systems and processes need to be, and help to implement those, as well as developing their signature programs for the Nook and for their employees, as well as licensing the new IQ to them so that it becomes their signature program that I'll be teaching there, and also taking Womanars there for women's events and workshops and seminars that I'll be doing there in Barcelona. So I'm really excited because it falls directly in line with my values and what I'm trying to do with women. And it just seemed like a perfect fit. And it's everything that I love to do. I love startups. I love to, bring things to life. And Lisette and I get along great. We've been friends for years, and she's like a sister to me. And it's just wonderful to be able to see and help her bring her dream to life.
Yes, exactly. And to be a part of it and to see it grow. And then, of course, as you said, it's so easily then duplicated elsewhere. And this is the thing what we need right now, is that please do not wait for your governments to do something for you. Your sisterhood, your brotherhood, it's not also about women against men. There are so many beautiful souls of men that I interview that are just so embracement of women, and what they're doing is also helping men change their perspective. And this is what we need. It's, yes, let's empower the men, but let's empower the women, but let's empower the men to see women differently. Right. And it's, to show the love.
I think that's been the critical mistake that we've made, is ignoring men and boys and not bringing them along with the women's empowerment movement. Because we have still created that us and them mentality instead of that us mentality. And it's, the Nook purposely is for men and women for that specific purpose.
Right. Good.
So that we can all learn and grow, or learn and grow with each other, and
support. I have another friend who has a retreat, and she does it with families, because there's no point in one person coming and receiving enlightenment and clarity and then going home back to the same discord. If the whole family is doing it, then everybody's got something out of it, and then they go home and nurture each other to stay in that loving vibration. And so I think it's really important. I'd love to see a lot of couples going to your Nook, because now, now they see each other differently, and that love that brought them together is more empowered because they're able to see each other differently and step into that beautiful divine spirit that they have together. So yes, it's about empowering women to empower men, to empower our families and our children. It's all about the empowerment of each other, isn't it? And that's where we're
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for us, that are part of the Nook now is just staying open to all that and wanting to create those experiences for families, for individuals,
Yes.
that are seeking to elevate their own consciousness.
Yes.
And they might come in there for a service, for a luxury service to begin with, but they'll leave knowing that we're much more than just a service provider, a luxury service provider, because of the type of service, the experience that they have. Most of our or all of our technicians that are doing the services are also coaches in one form or another. So, the level of service that they're going to get, or the type of service that they're going to get is going to be really, really different than any other space in Barcelona.
More, not just personal, but, more soul and heart based. And, that's, we have as a humanity at the present moment, hungry hearts, just so desperately needing to be switched on, to be connected, to be heard, to be felt. And we need more people to step into the heart space. Because when they do, when you step into heart, you step into God's love, you realize you are part of God, you're here to be the best you can be so that you become a contributor, but you have to be willing to step into that heart space. And that's so very, very important. So, my dear, would you please let everybody know how they can find you, your Womanars, the Barcelona, everything? Where do they get
you? They can, many ways, but you can simply go to iamtilde.com and connect with me there.
Will you spell your name so people have got the right spelling?
It's iamtilde, TILD, like David, E.com. Or you can also go to womanars.com, which is WOMANARS.com. And, you can connect with me there. You can email. My email is there as well. You can connect with any of our social media channels. From there, you can sign up for our newsletter where we'll, I don't email a lot, so I won't inundate you with emails. But if you sign up, then you'll be learning about events, anything that we're doing, whether it's here in the States, on some site. But, that's basically how they can connect with me. I do have an upcoming workshop on June 19th that's going to be online and in person. So if they want to sign up for that, they can go to iamtilde.com, and it's on there.
Wonderful. And we had a bit of a wobbly on the Barcelona thing. So I think you were saying that you people can see about Barcelona on your site?
Yes, that is on there as well.
Excellent. This is wonderful. It's so lovely to have you back again. Please, folks, go back and listen to our other show, because that's the journey from where she was to where she was a year ago. And now we're saying this is the next chapter. So if you think, well, how does she get to be how she is now? Go back and listen, and you'll the struggle that it was get there. And we have to understand something. It's like giving birth to ourselves, isn't it? We're going to go for the 9 months, and whatever time it is, and we're going to be kicking ourselves from the inside out. We're going to be doing all sorts of things. And when we give birth, it's painful. But then who we are on the other side is so worth it. And we have to be willing to invest that time and effort into ourselves, because there is no pill, no quick fix. And the more you nurture, love, and invest in yourself with the help of people like Tilde, the more you're going to discover how awesome you really are. And then when you step into that love, that birthing of love of self, oh my goodness, there's going to be no holding you back. And we want many people with wings out there. So please let Tilde help you, because the more wings we have out there, the more love we have out there. And that's what this world needs now. Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being with us here again today, love. It's a delight to have you back on the air with us.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate you taking the time to let people hear my voice.
Oh, a good voice to be hearing. So lots of wisdom there. So look at the IQ program, look at the Barcelona program. Please go back and listen to some of her Womanars. Some of the people that she does interview on the Womanars are very, very empowering people. And we're going to say it's not about the power, it's about the empowerment of each other and of ourselves. And when we step into that, boy, do we become a solution for the world. So everybody start flapping those wings. You know you can. Let her be the wind beneath your wings. We need you out there flying on that loving high vibration, because you are what the world needs now. Thanks a lot, love. Until next time, folks, bye for now. For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.